Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show, checking the pulse of Husker Nation, ladies and gentlemen. This is my kind of a combo show. It's my gut reaction, but it's a fluid situation, so who knows what may or may not happen for Huskers recruiting class going forward. Let's be honest, we got 29 guys that are pretty much on board. We're probably done, but I'm saying gut reaction plus my final thoughts on this recruiting class, barring any surprises going forward. That's why I'm in studio, even though it's kind of a gut reaction. It still feels weird anytime I do a gut reaction in here. But real quick, I mentioned this a couple times this week, and I appreciate the response that you people have given because it helps me out, and I love doing this show. And so if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, again, only about a third of the people who watch my shows, the Carriker Chronicles, have actually subscribed. Now, that's gone up the past week because I mentioned a couple times. I do appreciate that, but more gut reactions coming forward. Okay, college football news is nonstop now. It's year-round. I love it, honestly. It's phenomenally phenomenal, and I love doing my job, and I love doing more of my job. Okay, if you don't want to miss any gut reactions, got more great interviews coming forward here in the near future as well. Hit that subscribe button, all right? Hit it, smash it, dominate it, whatever you want to do. All right, now, if you're like me, okay, and you're legit excited about this top 20 recruiting class, along with some of the hidden gems that I think Matt Rhule has found, okay, if you're excited like I am about this recruiting class, then smash that like a button. Now, real quick, Matt Rhule, this is partially about his press conference and the recruiting class itself. Again, it's a combo show. Matt Rhule, at his press conference, he opened by thanking everyone who was involved in this process. It's hard. It's a lot of time. I've been involved in this process, not from a coaching perspective, but a player's perspective, and watched it while I was there at Nebraska for 4.5 years. It takes even more time than I can even imagine, okay? So he wanted to thank a lot of people. He also thanked the city of Lincoln. He said the city of Lincoln and Nebraska and Nebraskans are one of the biggest recruiting tools, okay, that he has, because every time he brings people to Nebraska, to the city, has them around Husker fans, it just blows recruits and their families away. Now, there's 6 legacy players, okay, in this recruiting class, okay? And that includes guys who have not only their dads who have played here, but uncles coaching and uncles who have played as well, a brother on the team already. Okay, so pretty cool. We have 8 scholarship kids from the state of Nebraska for the 2nd year in a row. Now, last year, I remember saying this. This was the most amount of Nebraska kids that were signed to a recruiting class since 1998. Now Matt Rhule's done it 2 years in a row. Now, when people talk about, this is not me, by the way. Okay, and I'm about to debunk some of the things that I've heard. Nebraska football isn't that good. Why are you trying to get in-state kids? You got to go out of state, blah, 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 blah. Okay, in case you didn't know, Nebraska high school football is a lot of talent. Something Matt Rhule talked about at his press conference today as well. In 2021, they had 14 FBS scholarship players come out of this great state. In 2022, 13. In 2023, this year, 13 scholarship players, FBS scholarship players out of the great state of Nebraska, and every single one of those players went to a Power 5 school, I might add. All right, he also thanked Tom Osborne. He said, Rhule's like, I love taking the credit. Ha. I mean, who wouldn't? But he goes, you put a player in a room with Coach Osborne, you let him do his thing, and it's really over. So he thanked Tom Osborne. Now, as far as some of these legacy players and who they are, you got tight end Keelan Smith, who was also, in case you didn't know, named the Missouri Player of the Year by Max Preps. Okay, tight end Keelan Smith is the son of Neil Smith. Okay, former black shirt grade, All-American, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ. You got Caleb Benning, the son of Damon Benning, who does a phenomenal job of breaking down Husker sports. Also, as Orange Bowl MVP back in the day. All right, punter Camden Cook. Sam Cook, his dad was one of my former teammates. We played at Nebraska together. We competed against each other for years in the NFL. I actually had a random phone call with him out of nowhere the other day. So what's up, Sam? It was good to chat with you. Okay, and he had a great 15-year plus NFL career. Quarterback Dylan Raiola, as you know, his dad is Dominic Raiola, All-American, Remington Award winner, Husker great. All right, wide receiver Quinn Clark, son of Husker running back Ken Clark, 2-time All-Big 8 running back for the Huskers, 1986 to 1989. And he unfortunately passed away recently, but I'd like to welcome all those players to the Husker Brotherhood. All right, the amount of players coming back and not leaving this program. There's only 3 scholarship players who entered the transfer portal. Okay, and in a minute, I'm going to tell you about some of the other teams in the Big Ten. 3 Big Ten teams have 22 players in the transfer portal. Ohio State is 16. By the way, those 3 Big Ten teams, they all tie for leading America. Nebraska only had 3 scholarship guys hit the transfer portal. So the best recruiting they did was getting our guys to come back, and those guys come back because they believe in what's going on. Guys like Ben Scott, Isaac Gifford, John Bullock, Bryce Benhart specifically, and there's even more. Okay, that speaks volumes about where this program is headed as well. Now, Rhule believes Heinrich Haarberg and Chubba Purdy, when he was asked about the quarterback position, have earned the right to compete and start, at quarterback next year without a guy older than them coming in. He says they didn't offer anyone else, but they're excited about the quarterback room and the 4 talented guys they currently have in it. They want to continue to train, those guys to be quarterbacks and get better and better and better and better. If you remember, Haarberg wasn't even really taking quarterback reps 2 years ago. Chubba Purdy was doing a lot of scout team stuff, being banged up last year. And then you got the 2 young freshmen, Dylan Raiola, and Daniel Kalen, that are coming in. He said, everything will be earned, nothing will be given. Now, when it comes to quarterbacks, this is from his press conference. A lot of questions about the quarterbacks. Obviously, Rhule likes accuracy. Guys who protect the football, and I'm sorry, when he said that, I had to pause just for a second, but that's just me. Something we're working on, obviously. Guys who can move around and make plays with their legs are great, but he said he really likes, because this was really a question centered around Dylan Raiola, He goes, he really likes Dylan's big arm, his big arm talent. Not many people have that. Plus his big hands will help when he's trying to throw the ball in really cold Big Ten type weather. He also likes players whose dads have played. They grow up with an understanding of the game. They grow up with an accountability. They grow up with an in-house coach who's probably harder on them than anybody else they'll ever meet in their lives, and it makes them better players. He also said Dylan loves football. He loves to talk football, and on a personal level, he's just a kind human being. And he kind of referenced him taking pictures with God knows how many fans at recent Huskers sporting events at his recruiting visit over the weekend. Now, when asked how Rhule managed that quarterback situation over the past week to 10 days, from Kyle McCord to Dylan Raiola to Daniel Kalen to all of that, he said honesty was the priority. Rhule wants competition. And he wants players who want to compete. He will never, ever apologize for bringing in good players / competition. Now, he decided to go with the younger quarterbacks. Again, the 2 true freshmen, Daniel Kalen, Dylan Raiola. And the aforementioned Heinrich Haarberg, Chubba Purdy. There's not a single senior in that quarterback room, I might add. When asked about offensive lineman Grant Bricks. Now, I have seen this kid practice at his high school in Iowa. It didn't look like a man amongst boys. It looked like a high school amongst, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but kind of like, I don't want to say elementary school kids, because don't like 5th or 6th graders is what it looked like. It was crazy. Maybe other kids on his team are just really small, but obviously he's really big. All right. He said he's not only a good, versatile player, but he's explosive too. And that's about the biggest compliment you can give a lineman of any sort. Defensive line, obviously, but O-line too. The most difficult offensive linemen I ever went against were the guys who were the smartest, who had the best technique, and guys who exploded off the ball. So I loved it when he used that word, explosive. All right, when asked about transfer portal management, Matt Rhule said they added Bly Hill. He's excited because he's a 6'3" cornerback whose dad played in the NFL. Now, this may change because the transfer portal is still open, but they didn't need to do too much, with so many of our own players coming back. Now, they added 4 or 5 players from Florida in this recruiting class, including Florida, the Miami area, and he really credited Evan Cooper, who did a great job, and some others as well down there. Now, Evan, in case you didn't know, is an assistant coach and the secondary defensive pass game coordinator. Now, when asked about Carter Nelson, he loves that he's kind of like a positionless player, and he talked about that specific thing a lot. And he referenced that Carter this past year played quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end in high school this past season. He said he would love to he's told Carter he's going to just give him the ball at the goal line and let him punch it in. And he even referenced, if you follow Coach Rhule on Twitter, kind of like being like Walter Payton. And he had put out a tweet earlier this week with Walter Payton scoring a touchdown, jumping over the goal line. And Matt Rhule goes, now you know why I put that out. Because I was like, did we get a transfer portal running back? Is Walter Payton alive? Is Walter Payton the transfer portal running back? What is going on? Well, now we know. All right. Let's see. We got 5 players out of Texas. All right. Where everything is bigger, but only the players that we get are better. All right. We found a lot of players, he said, at camps. okay, last summer. These are Matt Rhule's words. They found a lot of players at camps. He doesn't want to airport recruit. In other words, you fly in, you go see the player you're looking to see, and you fly out. Like, he wants to do the long hours, the dirty work, the grind. He referenced camps and finding players at camps, God knows how many times in this press conference, because he likes finding players that other people overlook, diamonds in the rough, so to speak. Okay, and he said they want to keep recruiting Nebraska, Florida, and Texas, and grinding and finding guys at camps specifically is how they got a lot of these Texas players. Now, when asked about NIL, all right, now this is the same man who said a quarterback costs $1 to $2 million in NIL money in his season-ending press conference. But here's the deal. I agree with everything that he said today, but here's what he said. He doesn't have a lot, okay, of NIL conversations. I agree with the mindset, I should say. Okay, now players will come up to him and tell them what they've been offered. Okay, and he even said, who knows what's real? I played with guys in the NFL like, I got offered X amount of years for X amount of money. And sometimes it was true and sometimes it was not. So Matt Rhule's like, who knows what's real? Sometimes the players don't even know sometimes if what they're being told that other players are getting is real. It's all a game. It really is. I saw it in the NFL, and college football is kind of like becoming like the NFL more and more every day. So I get what he's saying, and that's what I was saying when I was like, I agree with where he's coming from here. So he basically said he doesn't have much to say. He doesn't have a lot of those conversations. He really looks forward to the day when NIL is more streamlined. Okay? Again, Rhule likes positionless players. In other words, he wants athletes they can develop and find those hidden gem type guys. He loves signing guys that come to their camps and kind of fly under the radar. He likes to see them in person, up front, up close and personal. Here's something people don't know about me. Okay, I played for an 0-9 high school team. I was the quarterback, got the ball, ran for my freaking life. All right, so I wasn't exactly getting uber highly recruited. Even at one point, Nebraska looked at me and said, you're not good enough to play here. Maybe I'll share that full story another day, because obviously I ended up playing there. But this ain't about me. I'll share it another day. It's about these young men here. Now, it's interesting because we went to my team camp, which was at Oregon State, for a week. Back when you could do 2-a-days, and then we did 7-on-7 at night. So it was really 3-a-days, 2 practices in full pads. But then I was like, I got to get looked at. So I got in the car with my dad, and I drove straight to Eugene. And I'm not going to lie to you, I loved Oregon. I thought it was phenomenal. It was my number 2 favorite school. Never said that publicly. It was closer than some might think, though, but I just love Nebraska. Then I drove to Pullman, Washington. Washington State. Did not go to UW, okay? They never spoke to me. All right, then we went to Idaho and some of the other smaller schools around there as well. And I made the camp tour, and I was exhausted at the end. Okay, I did get a couple days off before I flew out to Lincoln and did a camp, did Nebraska's camp there as well. I get why camps are important from my own personal experience is what I'm saying. All right, they did not sign a running back. He said they have 4 running backs they love. He loved what Emmett Johnson did this past year. He's a young guy with a lot of years to play. Quentin Ives, he's brought his name up a ton. Quentin didn't play a lot last year, but he clearly sees something in this young back in practice. You're also getting back Gabe Ervin Jr., Ramir Johnson as well. Okay, and then he said they might target a running back next year, or you never know what might happen in the meantime. All right, let's see here. As I mentioned, they only had 3 scholarship players that hit the transfer portal to this point. Now, Indiana, Michigan State, and Purdue are those 3 Big Ten teams that also are tied for leading the nation with the most amount of players in the transfer portal, and Ohio State has 16 players in the portal as well. All right, now, when you look at this class itself, and you look at the national recruiting rankings, all right, Georgia's number 1, Alabama 2, Florida State 3, Ohio State 4, Texas 5, Oregon 6. Okay, now, Nebraska, 19th ranked recruiting class in the country, top 20. Now, they have the most amount of commits of any team in the top 20, 29 signees, I should say. Okay, they have 29. Okay, and the next highest amount of commits for a specific team is number 1, Georgia, with 27. Now, why does this matter? Because Rhule wants to develop young talent from within. Okay, and so obviously the more players you have coming in, the more competition it breeds, the more opportunity you have to develop young talent. So that's the approach he's taken, which is why we have so many young, talented guys. Now, I just thought this was kind of funny. Maybe you won't, maybe you will. We have more 5-stars than Oregon, LSU, Penn State, Michigan, and USC. Take that. I did find this interesting, though. South Carolina has 2 5-star players. What the blue hell? I didn't see that coming. All right, you look at the Big Ten rankings, recruiting rankings. Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Penn State 3, Michigan 4, USC 5. Nebraska 6, okay? We're 6 out of 18 teams when it comes to recruiting rankings, okay? Talent acquisition, so to speak. Now, again, we have more total commitments or more total signees than any team in the Big Ten, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the only other Big Ten school with any 5-star players at all is Ohio State. We actually have less 4-star players, okay, than all 5 teams in front of us. And it's really not close, if I'm being honest with you. Like Ohio State has 12. Oregon actually has 19. Penn State has 17. Michigan has 17. USC has 13. We have 7, okay? Again, I've always said it's not who you are when you walk through the door. It's what you do when you come through the building. But that was just something that stood out to me a little bit. We got less 4-stars considerably than everybody ranked in front of us. We are tied with Wisconsin with 7 4-star players. And again, that's way more players was Matt Rhule's overall philosophy with this class. They have the availability, the room, okay, for overall development. Now, there are 6 Big Ten teams that have top 20 recruiting classes. It's good for the Big Ten Conference as an overall whole. All right, now you look at this Nebraska class itself when it comes to state of Nebraska recruiting. We got the top 4 recruits in the entire state of Nebraska to all come. Okay, Carter Nelson, Daniel Kalen, Davon Hall, Ashton Murphy, Michael Burt. Good luck at Iowa. He's number 5. Now, we got 6 of the top 10 in-state recruits. Notre Dame and Missouri got a couple of the others. We got 8 of the top 13 recruits in the state of Nebraska. Now, those who don't know, Daniel Kalen and wide receivers Isaiah McMorris and Davon Hall were all teammates at Bellevue West High School. Okay. Now, this may not matter because Matt Rhule loves positionless players. He'll convert offensive guys to defense, defense to offense, vice versa. But we signed 14 offensive players, 10 defensive players, 4 athletes, 1 punter, and a partridge in a pear tree. You knew it was coming. All right, ladies and gentlemen, DPS Concrete Construction. They are the sponsor for this show, not only because they do great work, not only because they're a great employer, but they're a quality company headed by Jason Armstrong. If you're looking for quality work, a quality place to work, a quality employer, someone you can trust, a company you can trust, check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Again, that's dpsconstruction.net. Now, it's all about competition, competition, competition. Ladies and gentlemen, everything will be earned and nothing is given, and Matt Rhule made that clear in his press conference. Now, some players to watch initially. I say all that because I'm going to give you names to watch, but it's all about who earns it. All right, Dylan Raiola, Daniel Kalen, obviously right off the top because that quarterback battle's wide open. Okay, Chuba Purdy, Heinrich Harburg. I know they've been on the team. They're not new signees, but I thought it was interesting that Heinrich Harburg is clearly going to stay a quarterback. Okay, cornerback, Bly Hill, the FCS transfer from St. Francis University, which is located in Loretta, easy for me to say, Pennsylvania, 6'3". That's a tall corner. I have a feeling they love his height, but he's also 165, okay? And so he's got to get in that weight room just a smidge, but keep your eye on him. All right, Carter Nelson, he did look like a man amongst boys when you watched him play last year. I'm going to surprise you with this one, maybe Preston Tauumai, and I hope I said that right. He's a four-star offensive lineman, 6'4", 315 pounds. Just keep your eye on that guy next year. Willis McGahee the fourth. All right. Now, he's 225 pounds, a little undersized maybe. He's an edge player / edge rusher, the son of former former NFL running back and Miami Hurricane star Willis McGahee. Athletic, fast, maybe a little undersized. We'll see if he can get on the field early. Another potential surprise for this year, talk about early playing time. All right, wide receiver Quinn Clark, 6'5", 190 pounds. He's a big wide receiver, big target for these young quarterbacks. Could help them out a little bit. All right, now those are just a handful of guys. Now, I can't wait to see who actually steps up when the pads eventually go on. The cream always rises to the top, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm going to throw out one more name out there, as a matter of fact. 4-star athlete Roger Gradney as well. I'm curious about Grant Bricks, too. I will say this as far as playing soon. He's 280 pounds, and he's got to make that weight room his best friend. All right, I should mention they had a flip. Okay, the signing day flip that I'm going to mention. The Huskers flipped former Miami linebacker commit Vincent Shavers. Okay, to me, he looks like a perfect jack in this 3-3-5 scheme. Now, my final thoughts are this. Personally, I'm excited for what Matt Rhule and his staff could do. I was excited to see what they could do with a full year to recruit. And here are my thoughts. I love this class. I do. Here's why. We have highly rated guys. Well, that's easy to love. Okay, but we have athletic, fast guys with good potential. Also, up front where it matters the most in the trenches, the big uglies, I was one of them. I was also a pretty boy quarterback all over the place. Good potential offensive linemen specifically, and potential diamonds in the rough. They did a great job of finding these guys, and all these guys are just waiting to be developed. All right, you have in-state kids. It means more to them to play for their in-state school. They're going to work harder, they're going to work longer, and they won't leave with a drop of the hat like somebody else may be more inclined to do. That creates a great culture as well in the locker room. Now, I love that we dipped into Florida. I love that we dipped into Texas, and I'm excited about the legacy players and all the kids whose dads not only played college ball, but in the NFL. Coaches' kids and kids of former NFL players just tend to get it a little bit more. All right, final thought. Now it's up to the strength staff and coaches to help bring this whole team together, and the players as well, obviously, and get some frickin' W's. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Here are my questions for you. Who's going to start at quarterback game 1 for Nebraska? Chubba Purdy, Dylan Raiola, Heinrich Haarberg, or Daniel Kalen? All right, let's have some fun with that one. Number 2, which non-quarterback player will be the biggest impact player for the Huskers from this class? Number 3, what grade would you give Matt Rhule and his staff on this recruiting class? An A, B, C, D, F, A minus, B plus, whatever. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, you can always check out CarrikerChronicles.com. It's where all your volleyball, basketball, football, Husker hopes and dreams will come true. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just science. Go Big Red. And always remember to throw the bug.